Economic sanctions against Turkey will remain in place, even if Ankara releases an American pastor whom it had arrested on suspicion of terrorism ties. That's after both sides imposed further tariffs on each other, and concerns over whether the situation has escalated too much were raised at the US State Department.
Why is it important, this one American, to put global financial stability at risk, put U.S. base presence in Turkey at risk, put a NATO ally, an alliance with a NATO partner at risk for one American who's being put through the Turkish justice system?
So you're saying this is our fault? This situation is our fault?
Why escalate it to that level for a single American who has not been tortured or mistreated? He's been.
I think I would take issue with the premise of your question. Turkey's financial situation has been in the works for quite some time, and it dates prior to the imposition of sanctions on August, I believe it was August the 1st. So this has been in train for quite some time, and you cannot blame the U.S. government for that.
RT's Don Corto now takes a look at how the decades-old alliance between the US and Turkey spiraled to this point.
Our country was built on tariffs, and tariffs are now leading us to great new trade deals, as opposed to the horrible and unfair trade deals that I inherited as your president. Other countries should not be allowed to come in and steal the wealth of our great USA. No longer.
What countries could he mean are stealing? Could it be Turkey? The country's lira shed a quarter of its value against the dollar in just 1 week after Trump's tweet about doubling existing tariffs. Investors are running away screaming, inflation's surging, and Turkey's leadership is bracing for an all-out trade war. The reason for such a calamity against an old NATO friend was Ankara's refusal to release an American pastor, accused of both terrorism and espionage. It's punishment time for a rebellious ally.
The tariffs that are in place on steel would not be removed with the release of Pastor Brunson.
And President Erdogan lashed out in defiance, calling the U.S. move an attempt to force Turkey to surrender and make them a slave to the greenback.
There is an economic attack against Turkey. Earlier, such things were done in secret, and now they're open to us. We can react in two ways, economically and politically.
Still, some are wondering if Ankara actually has the power to challenge Washington.
This is Trump's way of doing things, and unfortunately, he is doing it in an undiplomatic way. If Turkey's economy deteriorates, Turkey will become more vulnerable, and they want to use this leverage for political purposes.
But Turkey's just one example of how the Trump administration treats longtime allies. In fact, many of America's friends have already been forced into the fray in a war of tariffs and sanctions. Canada had heavy steel and aluminum tariffs imposed earlier this year, and Trump perhaps thought the stars and stripes needed some protection from its northern neighbor, who didn't take too kindly to it.
That is kind of insulting. We move forward with retaliatory measures on July 1st, applying equivalent tariffs to the ones that the Americans have unjustly applied to us.
As if that wasn't bad enough, the U.S. president went and slapped tariffs on Europe.
Today, I'm defending America's national security by placing tariffs on foreign imports of steel and aluminum. The American steel aluminum industry has been ravaged by aggressive foreign trade practices. It's really an assault on our country.
Brussels tried to hit back with restrictions of its own, tried to appeal to the transatlantic solidarity, special relations, bonds of friendship, but to no avail. And it begs the question, with such a long list of enemies the U.S. is currently fighting, from Iran to North Korea, Russia, China, why kick your allies?
I think this has become a real tit-for-tat thing, and I do not for a New York minute think that the pastor is really what is going on here. Now, of course, our Washington's ties with Ankara have been strained for some time, ever since the coup attempt against Erdogan. I suspect there's something going on with regional politics, maybe with regard to Syria, that is really the reason behind this.
Competitors like Beijing and Moscow attempting to pack as much heat as the U.S., these days, sanctioning and scaring everyone in view may be the only way for the U.S. to impose its will on friend and foe alike. Donald Corder, RT.
Done. So, hey man, like you said, this ain't got nothing to do with that pastor, man. It's got something to do with something else. United States trying to bully these countries. I got one scripture to read. Revelations 17. Is it 17? It says that she's making enemies along with the enemies she got. She's making enemies with her allies, right? Most of her allies are in the EU. It says, Revelation 17:16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. So the American allies are basically going to be turning on her, man. America is through this president they have in there now. He's making enemies with his allies. Canada, Mexico, Great Britain. Hey, he gonna need them to go against the countries that really hate him, but they're gonna turn on America, man. He says they're gonna hate the whore and shall make her desolate. How they gonna make her desolate? Because it's gonna come to thermonuclear destruction. The war is inevitable, man. There's no way to stop thermonuclear destruction. Yahweh Shem Yahushua has that spirit in the land. Hey, they're moving to his beat. They're moving to his plan, and they don't even know it. Thermonuclear destruction is coming to America. This is going to be the salvation of the elect of Israel. And it says, and they shall hate the whore. They shall hate the whore and make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. That fire is from the thermonuclear destruction, man. For the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will. It's going to be his will that America be destroyed, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled, man. And they're going to be fulfilled after thermonuclear destruction. The words going to be fulfilled when we come out of the chariots, New Jerusalem, and bind their kings with chains, according to Psalms 149 chapter, man. This is his will. You know, let me get that. This is his will, man, to do the will of the Heavenly Father, man. Because Esau's time is up. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, man. Now, the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is basically finna take you out of rule and put the rightful rulers back in their right place, man. It says, let the saints, Psalms 149 and 5. It says, let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds, man. And the saints, it tells you in 148, are the Israelites, man. We're not singing with joy and glory in our beds, man. We're in captivity right now. So this is going to be in the kingdom. It says, let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, an actual two-edged sword, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, man. Vengeance, payback, slaughter, man, and punishments upon the people, man. Punishment upon Esau and you other nations. All you have put your hands on Yahweh's, Hashem Yahushua's people, Israel, man. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. Who are your nobles? The Rothschilds, DuPonts, Getty, Rockefeller, the Oppenheimers. These are your nobles, man. It says to bind them with chains and fetters of iron. So this is the Lord's will that was talked about right there in Revelations, man. It's to destroy it, bring us back, and bind your kings with chains. It's all part of the Lord's will, man. It says to execute upon them the judgments written, to put you in slavery, man. To destroy you, destroy your society, destroy your power structure, and to put you in chains, man. This is the judgment written, man. This honor have I of all his saints. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Call Halayim Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. You know, with that, a double honors also to the apostles, the elders of GMS. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. GMS, stop and listen. Shalom.